Hey guys, it's DIY Nails by Wood. Please subscribe to see more of these videos and check my description for the links of the other ladies who participated. This month's theme is Floral. I'm going to show you how I did this manicure with a special little surprise. I actually practiced on my right hand, and I'm going to keep it in this video because with practicing there was a few things I want to tweak and change with these colors on my left hand. I'm going to start out by using my Keratin Ph Bond by Triple Vitamin. And then after that dries, I'm going to apply a thin strip of Untitled base. It's already done, my hand's already prepped. I'm going to do the 3/4 dip of clear, which is actually just like a little strip avoiding the sidewalls and the cuticle. And I've touched on that in other videos if you have not seen those already. So once all my fingers are covered, I'm going to clean off the excess very diligently to keep it nice and clean. And then I'm going to go ahead and start off with You Make My Heart Glow on my thumb and my pinky. I'm going to do 2 full dips and stir because this dip was a little dense and stirring makes it a little bit more fluffy and soft, so it goes on a little bit more evenly. And because I've shown how I dip basic flat colors in previous videos, I'm going to fast forward through this part a little bit so we can get to the fun part, which is the ring and the middle, which shows a couple different styles and techniques, and of course the floral, which is the theme of this video. And like I said, 2 full dips on the pinky and the thumb. And then of course once that's done, I'm going to do a dip of clear over both of those, but I will wait till my entire hand's done so I can just do clear on all of them. Moving on, we're going to use Orange Glow and You Make My Heart Glow. We're going to do the ring compared to the right hand. I would just want to make it a little bit more smoother. I'm going to use this tab from my Dashing Diva nail guards that I've used before. And I'm going to place it a little bit away from the white, away from the free edge of the nail, and press down, but not hard. Very, very gently so it's easier to remove later on. Whenever I've used my nail guards, when I'm done, I always have a few extra tabs that were too big, and that's what I'm using. I'm going to apply my liquid and try and keep it just on the tip, and then I'm going to start doing a vertical ombre just like I would do any other vertical ombre, where you start with red, then orange, then you would alternate and do orange, then red. Again, there's other videos that have a lot more detail of that in it. And also for future reference, if I were to go back and do this for a third time on my hand, I would probably apply the liquid and try and keep it just on the tip and try and avoid putting it on the nail guard at all. Because later on when I go to try and remove the nail guard, it tries to peel off the little bit of dip that's on my tip. So I left it in the video so you can see how I fixed it, how I found a solution. But next time, if anybody ever wants to try this, try and avoid getting some of the dip on the nail guard. As you can see, just trying to peel, like most of it's staying, but a little bit wants to come up. So I kept thinking like maybe it needs to be a little bit harder. So I try and add a little bit of solidified just on the tip and let the activator spread and try and avoid where the dip is on the nail guard. Let that harden a little bit and then keep trying to peel off the nail guard while using my thumb to press down right where the nail guard meets the dip on my tip. And this is also why I put the nail guard on very gently. I didn't press hard because I didn't want it to stick even harder and make it harder to get off. Now when peeling it away, there was a little bit of dip excess, and I cut that off out of frame on accident, but I used my cuticle pusher here to keep pushing in a rounded motion to get that nice curvature for the tip. And any part that sticks up after doing that, I go back in with my cuticle nippers and I clip that off. Just any part that came up when I did the glass cuticle pusher, and you can see that the lines are already nice and neat and clean. Next, I'm going to go with Delicate. It's a nice sheer pink that you use for, French manicures. I'm going to push back cuticles, which I do every full dip. I say it every video. Sorry. And I didn't show how I applied the liquid this first dip because it was out of frame, but I do show it. And when the Delicate was a little wet, there was a little bump, and I just pressed it down with my finger and manipulated it. So for the second pass of liquids, it's in frame, thankfully. I apply in the direction of where the tip is as I would by my cuticle. So I apply with the brush a little ways away from the color and then push towards the color, causing my brush to fan out, and I go right up against it to get so that I know that Delicate's going to sit right up against it. nice and flush. And then once I get around the tip, I go and do my cuticle. I'm sorry, it's a little hard to explain, but you can see here, then I start to coat around the cuticle. And I didn't fast forward it so you could see how slow and meticulous I was in these liquids. They're not too fast drying. And then there we go. We got 2 layers of the delicate, and then about 2 or 3 layers for the ombre, which when you tap, it's a little bit thinner, so you can add a little bit more. And eventually I'll show my finger kind of out of profile so you can see how smooth the transition is. I'm going to be doing North Star Glow on my middle finger, stir of course, because this is a little bit more denser of a powder. And I'm going to fast forward to this because it's just one basic dip of the white on my middle finger. Now this is for the floral nail. On my right hand, I didn't add any white, and then I put the flowers on and I crinkled them up and then tried to put white over, and I feel like you couldn't really make out what they were. So this next go around, I learned from that, and I'm going to do white first this time, and then I'm going to use my big pick here, the big black pick off to the right. I'm going to use some of my base, and I'm going to pick up the flowers very carefully and place them on instead of crinkling them so that they hold their shape. You can tell what they are, and I can place them where I want them, because on my right hand I crushed them too much, and then the white made it hard to make out. So this way, in the end, you'll see that the end product is a lot more neater. And I just kind of I wanted to place a little bit of the red and the orange flowers. And these flowers, they are the orangest ones I had in there, even though they look a little yellow in my video. And I just manipulate and I press down as much as I can without trying to break them up too much, because, you know, I learned from my other hand. And I keep pressing. I grabbed some bigger, some smaller pieces. I'm going to go ahead and encapsulate in delicate. Most milk bath nails you would encapsulate in like a light pink or a light white, and then as you file down the flowers that show in the surface and the flowers that are underneath and it's opaque, it makes it look milky. But like I said, I didn't really like how it looked on my right hand, so I'm going to do delicate, which is a sheer pink I mentioned earlier, and I feel like it made kind of like a foggy mirror milk bath nail, so you can still make out what it is. And then I was thinking about doing a second one, but I decided not to. And then I'm going to just encapsulate in clear, and that will help cover up the rest of the bumps of the flower, so when you file, it's nice and smooth. We're going to go on to the pointer, which I'm just going to do a vertical ombre of the You Make My Heart Glow and Orange Glow. And also, when I went to do, I compare at the end. When I went to do this on my right hand, I think it was my liquids were a little bit older, so the liquids were drying too fast and my ombre turned out splotchy. So again, I learned from that, and I went ahead and grabbed a different bottle, a newer bottle, which are these Dipalicious liquids, and the ombre turns out it's already looking better than it did on my right hand. And like I said, if I wasn't doing both hands, I would redo the nails that I feel like I messed up on my right hand before I would go and take a picture and post. But this kind of shows it's like not every idea in your head turns out perfect, and that's okay. You learn from it. And look at that ombre, it's so pretty. And I feel like the orange was a little bit overpowering, so I'm going to do a tiny bit of orange and then more red, so that the red's not so overpowered with the orange. It's really just personal preference, and I love vertical ombres, if you can tell. Oh wait, no. I gotta do a dip of clear over all my nails first. I almost forgot, and I'm glad I caught that. I'm going to apply the liquid really, really slow when I go to apply the clear, just to make sure that those flowers are really evenly colored. You really want to saturate that nail so that they're encapsulated, i.e. encapsulated flower nails. And then same when I go for the ombre tip, I want to make sure it's really smooth and even so that you have a smooth transition from the tip to the nail bed, because I did do those separately. And when I file, everything's going to be nice and smooth and even, and I'll show you that too. And I will file the sides in a little bit to make it a little bit thinner, not so bulky. I'm going to take the file side. Oh, I did activate off camera. I'm going to take the file side and go in the rounded motion on the surface of the nails and the sides to get it as smooth as I can. And when you're filing, especially when you encapsulate flowers, it's okay if a few of those flowers peek through. If anything, that adds depth, because some flowers are still under the clear a little bit more than the others, and I think that looks great. I file the same way over my ombre nail tip, but I know that because I did the tip and it was such a smaller area, a little bit more liquid pulled up on the tip. So I'm going to spend time filing underneath and the edges and file them in so that it's a nice smooth transition from the tip to the bed. And I just go ahead and I keep going to get it nice and smooth, and this helps the shape of my nail too. This is how I shape my nails. Then I go ahead and go around the cuticle area, and I know right here it seems like I'm doing it really hard, but if you see, I'm holding it very lightly. It doesn't take much pressure to just go around that cuticle area to smooth it up, and because it's glass and the sides of the file are smooth, you don't have to worry about cutting up your cuticles. And then when I'm done, I hold my finger still and file in that horizontal motion, and I did notice the orange side was a little bit longer, so I needed to make that a little bit more even. And this is also why I cap my tip with dip, so that when I file it down, it's still capped. And I feel like that helps with lifting a lot, for me at least. And then I repeat this step on all my nails, but I'm only going to show you the more decorated nails, so it's not as repetitive. I'm going to go ahead and buff, and when I buff like a madman, and I buff that cuticle area, and it just makes it look like it makes it look much smoother around the cuticle. And I buff like I would file, everywhere, rounded, sides, tip, just so it's really smooth, and I feel like it helps bring out the color too when you buff. Alright, and then I'm going to take my manicure brush and brush vigorously. Get all that excess powder so none of it gets stuck into that top coat. Apply generously a dip of Solidify, and then I'm going to wait about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to wipe off with a paper towel here, and apply a good amount of pressure wiping to make sure I really soak up some of that Solidify. And then I'm going to do the quick swipe of the Glossy 2.0 Top Coat, one of my faves. And, well, I say quick, but I'm pretty slow. Like, I'm really glad these videos have a fast forward feature because I'm meticulous and I take my time. And I feel like it's good because you get really detailed and clean, but it's very slow going. But I like my results. And then for the final layer of top coat, I push back all the cuticles, always. And then I apply really slow. I'm going to do it really slow on my pointer so you can see. I apply a little bit away from the cuticle, push towards the cuticle, causing the brush to fan out. And then I like to take kind of like the corner of the brush and go over where the dip is slightly, so that the dip is sealed in, and I feel like it kind of hides the line where the dip stops and then the rest of your nail is, you know. And then cap, of course. And it's not fast forwarded, so you can see how much I take my time when I do that final top coat. And I don't believe you need more than two. There's been times where I've actually done a third coat, but that's only if that top coat seems to really be sucking into the dip. Here's the final result, and I'm going to go ahead and compare to my right hand. And look, seeing out of profile, it's a smooth transition. You don't have any bumpiness. The pinkies, they look about the same. My nail beds on my right hand are a little bit fatter, but you can see that on the left it's a lot smoother and cleaner and neater. And then the flowers, you can make them out so much better on my left hand than the right, where it's just covered in white. And then here as well, the vertical ombre was a lot cleaner because I learned I needed to grab different liquids. I hope you enjoyed my floral ombre tip mani, and if you did, please follow and subscribe. Thank you!